Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our next lesson in supply and demand. This is part 3, and we're going to talk about elasticity today. My name is Miss Jennifer Blank, and this is supply and demand. All right, so this is a review breakdown of our topics and key questions. All right, we're going to talk, we already talked about understanding demand. Today, we're going to talk about elasticity of demand. All right, so key terms, elasticity of demand. Thank you, Captain Obvious. We're going to talk about what inelastic means, what elastic means, what unitary elastic means, and total revenue. These are very, very important ideas. All right, so what is elasticity of demand? The abbreviation is EOD. So students, when you see EOD, you should remember that it is elasticity of demand. And this is a measure of how consumers respond to price changes. Okay, the terms below describe specific consumer responses to those changes. So elastic is something where demand is very sensitive to a change in price. So if the price changes slightly and demand is affected significantly, then we can say that that thing or that good or that service is elastic. Demand that is not very sensitive to a change in price is considered inelastic. So if it's sensitive to price changes, it's elastic. Insensitive to price changes, inelastic. All right, factors of elasticity. All right, substitute availability. Is there something that you can have in exchange or in place of? Relative importance. Is it something that is super, super important? You've got to have it, or is it something that, well, it'd be nice? Is it a necessity versus a luxury? And you also have to look at change over time. Certain things may in the past have been very, very important, or maybe a necessity, and now not so much. So, what I want you to do is pause the video and come up with 3 examples each of elastic and inelastic products. I'll wait. Okay, so I came up with some possible examples. Elastic things, elastic examples, Marlboro Lights, BP gasoline, Advil. Things that are generally inelastic, cigarettes, gasoline, and medicine. Are you seeing a correlation? Notice there are brand names, particular brands of products that are more elastic versus just actual products that are inelastic. All right, so you may not think of cigarettes as a need, and I can see that, but those people who do smoke do consider it a need. They are addicted to the nicotine, so they consider it a need, and while they might not buy Marlboro Lights if the price changes significantly, they'll probably switch to a different brand, but they will still smoke. In most cases. If you'd like another or additional examples and an additional explanation of elastic versus inelastic, feel free to check out this website right here. I know my students are like, but Miss Blank, it's at yahoo.com. I know. I never do this. I always tell my students never go to those kinds of websites. But in this instance, this one actually happens to be pretty good, so I suggest you check it out. All right, important information about elasticity. It does vary by price and quantity. Okay, so you can have a product that is inelastic at one price, but very elastic at a different price, okay? And certain items defy the degrees below because they are deemed such a necessity, okay? So here, now we're getting into greater than and less than and all kinds of fun stuff. So there are different degrees or values of elasticity, all right? If the elasticity is less than 1, demand is inelastic. If elasticity of demand is greater than 1, then demand is elastic. And if elasticity of demand is equal to 1, then it's considered unitary elastic. So the percentage change in quantity demanded is actually equal to the change in price. Don't worry, we're going to practice. So calculating elasticity is lots of fun. So you look at the percentage change in the quantity of the good demanded, okay? Then you divide it by the percentage change in the price of the good, and you therefore have the elasticity of demand. Simple, right? And you're all going like, oh no, she brought math up in here, and this is a social studies class, and what are you doing? Trust me, it will make sense. I promise we're going to practice. All right, so change in the amount, percentage change in the amount, percentage change in price, that gets you the elasticity. That should simplify it at least a little bit, but you guys should write this down. Everyone should write this down. You should pause the video and write this down because you're going to need to memorize this formula. Just FYI, putting it out there. Okay, here is an example of how to calculate this and what this actually looks like. You can read, so I'm going to let you pause the video and take a look at this. If you have questions about this, you need to remember to ask me in class, okay? Or if you're not my student, feel free to ask your own economics teacher. But pause the video, take a look at this, see if you understand what's happening here. If you don't, then it's very, very important that you ask me in class about the specific thing, okay? All right, here's a close-up of it in case so you could, well, actually, this is not a close-up. This is a different one, but this is another example. This is example number 2. So again, pause, take a look, make sure you understand it. If it doesn't make sense, ask me in class. So how does this affect businesses? Well, it helps businesses to predict total revenue. That's the total amount of money a company receives for the sale of goods and services. Not profit. Not profit, ladies and gentlemen, revenue. Revenue is the total amount of money they get. Profit is the amount of money they make when they subtract the expenses. Okay, so revenue is the total amount of money they get. So total revenue and elastic demand is important because elastic demand results in a decrease in revenue, which is bad because it's going to affect your bottom line as a business, right? But total revenue and inelastic demand results in an increase in revenue. So if you have a product that is not sensitive to a change in price, you are so happy. You are excited because people are going to buy your stuff, all right? So pricing policies really reflect these concepts, okay? The above determine if a company will raise, lower, or keep prices the same. All right, so when you're wondering why Target charges what it charges or why Walmart charges what it charges, I bet you any amount of money that they have some economists crunching some numbers looking at elasticity of demand. That is the end of part 3. I hope you learned what you needed to, and I will see you in part 4.